We are into the third round of the women's event here. We've just seen the heat of the round, but potentially it could be eclipsed by this incredible matchup. Tyler Wright, who won the first event of the season, up against Steph Gilmore, who's carrying 2 quarterfinals into the third stop, and Bronte Macaulay, who hasn't done worse than a 9th as the injury replacement and looks like she'll be making her way up the ratings again. Ronnie Blakey with Ross Williams, and we're watching the local girl, Bronte Macaulay, get the first wave of Heat 4. She's going to kick out. Plenty of time. 35-minute heats, Ross, in this third round. 32 minutes to go. And, yeah, I love Chris's turn. But while we were at the break, we did see Steph Gilmore getting off to a quick start, and that's something she's been working on.
Yeah, she's trying to be competitively more sharp. She knows that she can rely on her talent. She never goes into a heat and doesn't look really crisp and fluid. So a decent wave for her. I think, again, we talked about this in the first heat, trying to find that rhythm that Sage had. But wow, that was pretty wild. And poor Sage, she just had to control. What was it, 97% of the heat she was in the lead.
This thing's starting to stand up. It's capping. And here goes the New South Wales South Coaster. Just a slow carve, transition turn to get started. Puts a bit more rail in the face of the wave for that second move. Taps away as this thing starts to flatten out. Definitely the best wave we've seen, but it didn't really allow Tyler to completely rip in.
Yeah, it didn't have that steep wall where she could tag it, but you could see the example of how we said she has that advantage of surfing heavier. She put some grunt into that second turn, a lot of spray, got a lot of board knifing through the water. I don't think it's going to be an excellent score, but it is kind of first blood. It's much better than the 4.67 from Steph.
So Tyler Wright looking to make the jump into first with that wave, but she'll drop to third priority now. Steph Gilmore is going to get her opportunity. Let's check out the replay, and Ross, you can talk about Tyler's rail work on this second turn.
Well, right here, she's just going to lean into it, especially at the tail end of that snap. She was cruisy at the beginning, and then she's really laid back with all her weight on her heels and pushed through that second half of the snap. That's what threw a lot of water, pushed a lot of board into that rail gouge. So even though it wasn't a steep wall where, like, again, you could tag it, she made the most of it.
Just under 13 minutes to go, and the score drops. It's a 6.67, best wave of the heat so far. Tyler now making the jump with just on 12.5 minutes to go into first. Steph Gilmore just needs a 2.01 to get into the lead. Bronte Macaulay chasing a 3.68. In control, Courtney, Tyler, Sally Fitzgibbons pushing so hard for their maiden world titles as Gilmore digs into a medium-sized set. A long carve to get started and hangs on to a tricky float to finish that wave off. Only needed a 2.01 to get into the lead. 10.5 minutes to go. I'd say she'd get that score.
Well, I like how the finish was, had some action there. She hit the lip. It looked like maybe she was going to fall, and she rode out of it. So kind of an exciting finish way there to finish that ride. Not as heavy-footed as Tyler. So watch this opening turn. It's solid. There's the inside rail. She knifes through it, but just had a tiny kink in it. But still, nothing really wrong with it. It was a nice move. And again, I like how she got really a bonus section there with that closeout lip line. She tagged it, and then you see this slow ivy drip of one set at a time. Normally out here at main break, as you know, Ron, it's just constant action. But a little different today with this long period swell.
7.27 for Gilmore. She moves into the lead. And Tyler Wright's now chasing a 5.28 to get herself out in front. Bronte Macaulay back in third position, only holding on to a 3. So her requirement is pretty solid, an 8.94. One thing that we want to have a look at is this first turn from Steph Gilmore.
Wow, well, it was kind of a 2-stage turn. So a lot of the points came from that second turn right there. It was aggressive. She got to hit the lip, got a little airborne, free dropping down. It was a nice ride.
This is Bronte's opportunity with priority to get a big score on the board. Drops down into the pocket now and just didn't quite tee off on that section the way she would have liked. She went for a bit of a transition turn and the wave cupped out. She fell. And a lost opportunity with that priority, which looks like it is really crucial out there at the moment.
There's no, well, we just talked about it. There's no room for mistakes today because it's inconsistent. So if you fall like that, it's brutal. Odds are you won't get another shot at a wave this nice. This is one of the best waves we've seen in this heat. Something that's really tricky out there is the way it is underneath the water. There's some shallow spots and some deep spots. So you can see the wave will go from being kind of open-faced to very cuppy. And it really is hard to predict as a surfer. You have to have great reflexes. That was the reason why we saw Stephanie Gilmore's first turn had 2 stages in it, because all of a sudden it bottomed out under her and she had to ride over that lump. Same thing for Bronte. She kind of got caught off guard there with the wave last second scooped out.
7.5 minutes to go. Rosie Hodge, you competed out here for a number of years. Is this another gear she can go to with her performance levels? And she might need it in the final stages here. 4.5 minutes to go. This is Bronte Macaulay without priority, getting a rare insider. And the opportunity here to let go of a number of decent turns. And look how comfortable she is with that end section. Had a great read on it and kicked out just in time.
Straight to her feet. Yeah, she didn't even phase there. That was one of the better snaps we've seen in this heat right here. So she's going to get straight back in the mix, especially since there's no monster numbers that have gone down. We saw Carissa do it in the last heat. She has enough time, Ron.
4 minutes to go. The score required for Tyler Wright, a 5.28 at this stage, but what do you think, Ross? Could this wave turn it?
I don't know if it'll turn it because the wave was really small, but she ripped the bag out of it. Really good surfing there. Fast. I think that was the biggest thing. That might have been the quickest speed we've seen so far in this heat. Judges will like that. Again, it'll get her back in the mix. It's going to make her number drop. Right now she needs a 9. That'll drop.
Those bigger set waves, typically they provide a little more scoring opportunity, obviously, because you're getting a bigger section to work with. But the biggest set wave in this heat was a burger. It was fat. So can the judges, the surfers out there in the lineup driving the skis, probably have a great advantage of seeing the set waves beyond the main break here approaching. As Steph Gilmore picks one off on the inside. Not a lot of room to work as the Dolphins arrive to say good morning. But I could imagine our competitors looking at the skis and just seeing if the driver's eyes are lighting up in anticipation of a new set arriving here. Here goes Bronte, driving off the bottom. That section just does not stand up for her. And with just over a minute to go, Tyler, she has a look at a wave. There is another set beyond the break, but not sure if it's going to reach the lineup in time here, Ross. 1 minute remaining. She is chasing a number. She needs a 5.28. Driving down the line into this first section. Solid. Nice turn there. Just doing her best not to turn that into a 2-stage cutback. Holding that line. Needs a little more. Has to get the finish here. And bashes on the foam. A composed performance. Just 2 waves for Tyler Wright. Did she do enough there, Ross?
I really love the fact that she got that last little snap. For me, I feel like she got there. The one carb was nice, just kind of a nothing cutback, but that last piece of whitewash, instead of hitting the bricks, it gave her one more section to crack. I know it wasn't a big section, but for me, I feel like that got her over the hump for that score.
Another good local surfer driving one of the skis here, Dino Adrian, one of the best surfers in the West. Would have seen some photos of him in surf magazines around the world. He's driving that ski with Tyler Wright, and we are waiting on the numbers to drop. The judges having a look at the replay here.
Always grunts into it, just like that Rosie Hodge Master P. She grunted through that carb. That's a decent cutback too, but I really love this. Just a tiny piece of whitewash, but it was a solid little snap. Maybe if the judges were floating around thinking 5, whatever, it might have put them over.
My mind's instantly going back to Steph's 7.27. Tyler's first turn compared to Steph's on that wave, much stronger. Steph kind of bobbled her way through that frontside carve. Tyler had a steeper section. She dug in a little harder.
So 4.67. This is where the scale's set. First wave for Stephanie. One decent cutback. She missed that second section. She kind of caught a rail and then just had a little off the lip. So we're thinking definitely better than that. How much better than that? Really powerful carve there, but the culprit, you can see how slopey and fat that wave is. So I keep talking about this last little section. That has to make the difference for her if she gets there.
The middle section of that wave sucked for Tyler. It just didn't allow her to get her board laid over. It was too flat. And the score's starting to come through. And it's a 5.3. And it's enough for Tyler Wright to make the jump from third into first. She's waiting to hear that news. And she is buzzing straight into the quarterfinals here at the Drugaware Margaret River Pro.